and welcome back to another edition of the In the Hunt podcast. My name is Jake Mendel, and always I have my buddy here, Topher Cochran, and we're here to talk about the Dolphins beating the Jets 13-6 at Hard Rock Stadium. Topher, does this even feel like a victory Monday?
It was after the game, and I forgot what the score was. I was like, I had to go look up my my Sportscast app, and like, what was the score again? Was it 13-7 or 13-6? I felt nothing, man. The game it was football, but I have the stat sheet up right now. Brock Osweiler averaged 5.8 yards a pass.
That's such a mess.
And then Darnold averaged 5.9. Like, I just don't know what I'm looking at. I feel like when I'm watching the games, I feel like my life and my views of football are stuck in mud. That Ryan Fitzpatrick could like not play a game, come back, and have a more exciting exciting half of football than the Dolphins could have of 3 games.
Yep. Because when we look at Darnold's QBR of 14 and Brock Osweiler's of 25 and even their ratings of 73 and 31, it was just so freaking boring. You were looking for some sort of excitement, some sort of big play. Jerome Baker was awesome. We're going to get to that later. But it was just so, cool. Frank Gore has to work so hard to get 7 yards, and he leads the game with a 2.7 average. How did they give a guy 20 carries who's averaging 2.7 yards? Obviously, he had to get there to average a 2.7, but that's not the point here. But
I'm shocked that Frank Gore had 20 carries. I didn't think a single Dolphin this year would have 20 carries in one game. Swear to God.
Me neither. It was I love Frank Gore. I do. He has his spot on this team. There is no doubt about that. But it is not getting 20 carries. Topher, the Dolphins do remain the best team of all time, and that is, in fact, is the 72 Dolphins. And, when I think about that, it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame that this is all we have. We had arguably the best quarterback of all time, and just because he never won a ring, we arguably have the best coach of all time. Yeah, nobody cares. It's all about the rings. I mean, it's just the type of game we're playing. There's only if it all matters to be that one team that won it all, and it's just the Dolphins have been so freaking mediocre that I wonder if they've won more Super Bowls than after 73. If this wouldn't be such a big deal, but it is freaking mind-blowing that we are stuck just 72 Dolphins, that's us. Because I wanted to see something more. I wasn't alive for that. I can't really be excited for that. I mean, to put it into perspective, the Patriots scored 31 points last night to beat the Packers. The rest of the AFC East scores 28, Topher. This is a goddamn disaster.
It's horrendous. And it's so frustrating when you're watching it, because I don't know who to blame. I really don't. I think it's easy to blame Gase, but when you have your quarterback, like I said, in the beginning of the show, averaging 5.8 yards attempt, or what are we doing here? What are we it's just mind-boggling to watch that we're watching that kind of football. Our team is watching is producing that kind of craptastic football. I don't know how you get out of it. I really don't. I didn't think third year into Adam Gase's coaching, tenure that it would just be the same thing or nothing, or worse.
And we can use all the excuses in the world that he hasn't had Tannehill, but Tannehill hasn't looked great. When it's Osweiler, he had to have there's a whisper that, he needed some convincing to have him on the team. But these are all players he picked. There's David Fales on the roster, who's his guy. It's just, why didn't we sign someone like Teddy Bridgewater if you have no faith in these guys? Because you have the good note here where watching the Jets and Dolphins and then going to a game like the Rams and Saints is like watching a game from the 1970s and then a game from 2018. It's just there's always someone wide open in these games, and for the Dolphins,
how does it happen? How does that happen? It's mind-boggling.
How is it so hard for someone to be open on some sort of play? Like a Devontae Parker slant. I remember Osweiler missed him once and Amendola once. But I mean, even then, Osweiler's favorite target was the sideline. It was brutal. Yes. Because, he looked good, escaping the pocket, but once he escaped the pocket, it was like Madden 07, where, you just had that cone you had to look through, and, that's the only thing you saw on the field. Yeah,
it was so small.
And his cone just was sideline. Oh, my God. It's a freaking mess. I don't... Like, I want to feel happy. We beat the Jets. We swept the Jets. It feels good. Darnold threw 4 picks. Kiko Alonso's awesome. But the Finns finished with 7 first downs. That ain't right.
No. It's like they're playing, and you're like, you don't know when they get the first down because the offense, because the game, you're bored to death when you're watching it. Mm-hmm. That you don't know what's happened until you look at like the stat sheet at the end of the game, and you're like, really? They had 7 first downs. 7. I don't even want to look at the time of possession.
You want to hear another great stat to go with that? The 7 first downs? They had 6 3-and-outs. That is many 3-and-outs as they had offensive points, Topher. That is disgusting. You want to hear one more for you? This one will make us feel a little better. Sam Darnold career stats against the Dolphins. He is 46 for 80, 57% completion percentage, 536 yards, 1 touchdown to 6 interceptions with 7 sacks. So that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, I mean, that's that thing, where if, we kind of like we've done a good job though against AFC East quarterbacks. Where like we kind of have their number a little bit. Even
Brady. I mean, if you really want to go there.
I feel like we should just because of how bad things are. And yet they're still 5-4, and they're always good for a win like that every year, though. Where they're playing, where you're like, you don't know where they are. Like they're either banged up. There's something going on. They get blown out the week before, and they come out and they just get a win, and you're like, how did they get that win? And it has me kind of like, I kind of want to commend Gase a little bit because, every year we get a win like that where you're like, how are they 5-4? Like, what do they do good on offense? Is it just because the defense is that much better that it keeps them in the games and it wins them games? But what do they do to make themselves 5-4? Because if you were to look at that stat, you would think, if you were to look at the stats we read about Osweiler and the first downs and all that, you would think we're the Raiders.
Yep. Yeah, just like a complete mess, like a complete dumpster fire.
And they're 5-4, and they did it last year against the Falcons. They beat New England, and you're like, where does this stuff come from? How do they do it? And it just happens. And next thing you know, they're 6-10. You're like, well, that's how it happens.
You know what? I'm gonna start with a little hot take here.
Please.
I think you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
That the Dolphins haven't played that game yet. I think
the New England game, the New England Monday night game.
No, the game that they're gonna somehow win. I think it's gonna be next week.
Really, I think it would. I kind of want. I kind of see. I think it would be against. Are you talking about against a good team?
Yeah.
The only good teams. The only good. Yeah, I would say the only surprising games left are the Packers, Vikings, and Patriots, right? Maybe Jacksonville, but I mean, like they're out. The out of division games are Indianapolis, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's a winnable game, and that's gonna be
the home game. It's a home game.
Yep. You know what? Hot take: the last 3 wins for us to go 8-8 is gonna be Green Bay, Buffalo at home, and Jacksonville. That's my hot take.
Prediction podcast. I love it.
That's what we got to do. We got to have a little hope, even if it's the hope that we end up sucking. Before we get into some topics, the last thing I kind of want to talk about is Jerome Baker is what we want to see out of all our young players. I mean, he had that game against Cincinnati where he had 2 sacks, and then yesterday the huge pick 6. I mean, he's looked bad at sometimes. Don't get me wrong, giving up receptions to touchdown receptions to like second string tight ends. We think about that Houston game, but like rookies are going to make those mistakes. But we want to see those flashes on the other side, and I've been pretty excited with him. Yeah,
I mean, he's been the one where you're like, you've been pretty pumped up overall throughout the entire season. Mm-hmm. That like the only thing they need now is just a more consistent linebacker, middle linebacker. But I'm only saying that because Raekwon's been okay, and it's honestly his first year playing football in the NFL because of his injury.
Yeah, he made a tackle yesterday, and I was like, oh. He's actually on the team, which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing if you're saying that about a linebacker, right? I know he had 1 good tackle in the backfield, but I don't think he really did too much. But that's kind of what you want in like your run-stuffing middle linebacker. And what we're seeing is Jerome Baker actually outplay Raekwon McMillan in those sets with in the nickel sets, excuse me. which is going to be a kind of interesting development because that's kind of how it should be. You kind of want to see McMillan because he's the higher draft pick. But, I mean, in today's NFL, he could be a good pick, but I think it's when you kind of chop up, like, maybe we spent too much on this position.
Yeah, and I think if your linebacker is not some physical freak, then why go too crazy on that position? But I don't think the linebackers are the problem. I don't think McMillan's the problem. Jerome Baker gives you hope that we have an exciting guy who could make a play. Kiko can make a play. Baker can make a play. At this point, I'll start taking those.
I think Kiko might be the best player on that defense. But before
wow, is that a foreshadowing?
That's a little foreshadowing what we're going to get to later. But we're going to jump to our first topic of who didn't play this week. Every week we're going to kind of start to look at a player and ask why we didn't play this week. And our one rule is these players are not allowed to be injured. So, Adam Gase, we ask you, why on earth is Frank Gore getting 20 carries when Kenyan Drake is only getting 3? He had 4 receptions, yes, but nothing in the second half when the Dolphins struggled to move the ball whatsoever. What's the deal?
I don't think he trusts Drake. I'm going back to that fumble. Yes, he gave him a chance against Chicago, but it's one of those things he missed a blitz yesterday that ended the drive, and it was pretty obvious. That was it. And yes, Drake has made some plays against Houston, but outside of it, I don't think he trusts them overall to be consistent each play on getting the job done. While when you watch Frank Gore, he might average 2.7 yards a carry, but for every 9 carries he gets, he's going to get 7 yards, and it's going to be the greatest 7 yards ever.
Yeah, he works so hard for those. When Drake can get that on a one burst, it's so it's weird because when you look at the stat sheet, both Kenyan Drake and Rock Osweiler had the same amount of carries, and I just was so annoyed watching Alvin Kamara beat linebackers out of a.
Stop it! Let's just not do that. Let's not do that game of watching Melvin Gordon as a highlight, and he's just running downfield. You're why can't our running back do that consistently?
And Gordon wasn't good his first year. He didn't have a single touchdown. Was either his first or second, I can't remember. But you gotta give your guys a chance. Yes, they're gonna make mistakes. What happened to when Juwan James had 4 freaking penalties in the first 2 weeks? When Tunsil sucked at the beginning of the year, they didn't do anything about that. These players still played. It just seems why with Drake? I mean, he can be such an asset to this offense. Why are we not using him more? And there was a point when the announcers brought up yesterday when Drake caught it wasn't even one of the swing passes where they have him go in motion and then throw it to him. It was just no one's open, swing pass to Drake where he threw it behind him. Drake still caught it, pirouetted, still got 5-6 yards out of it. And that's just he makes it look so easy when Frank Gore has to work so hard. The one thing I did kind of even though the stat sheet doesn't show it too much, Kalen Ballage is in the stat sheet for 1 carry for -2 yards. But he did have a nice run out of the Wildcat before that for 10. But you go to the well one too many times. Obviously, the defense is going to sniff it out. And I believe he also had a reception on the game. He actually had 2 for 17 yards. So it's good to see him getting involved. In reality, I'd like to see Drake and Ballage get maybe 3-4 more attempts each if you want to go that route. But either way, the Gore, I love him, yes. But he's a guy you want running the ball when you have the lead. Now, in one of these games where the offense is struggling to get a first down.
And you need plays.
Exactly.
It's just when you watch Kenyan Drake last year, you're oh my God, we're going to have a running back who's going to get 1,000 yards rushing, and 500 yards receiving, and we'd be lucky if he averages that as a total, 1,000 yards, because we see the game against New England last year. We're that's what we wanted out of a running back. You're that's the explosive plays against Carolina last year. The plays against Denver last year. We haven't gotten any of that this year outside of the Lions game, and that was just that one play.
Yeah, it is. What is Gase doing? Because, we all saw yesterday him just sitting there alone on the bench, writing on his scorecard. What he's writing, I don't know. If you check out
I will give the ball to Frank Gore.
Yeah, if you check out MIA in the Hunt on Twitter, you will see I posted a pretty funny meme, humble brag there, about how it's just him, Bart Simpson on the chalkboard. run up the middle of Frank Gore, because there's no creativity. There's nothing to be excited about this offense, and it just doesn't make any sense that he's not getting any of his playmakers involved. Yes, Kenny Stills was still hurt, so that's not an excuse to why Drake shouldn't be getting the ball more. Devontae Parker, I believe, only had one catch on the day.
Jakeem Grant's not getting anything. Like, they're not – the offense just looks boring.
Mm-hmm. And it's like – and then the
Gesicki had one target yesterday. One target.
And it was on the worst play call in the world. Against Jamal Adams, you're going to try to throw a 1v1? That ain't going to happen, especially when there's a safety over the top. And then I thought Gase figured out early in the game. When they went for it on 4th and 1, and then they ran it up the middle, Gore got it. And then next time, 3rd and 1, they do an outside zone with Frank Gore. Are you kidding me? He's 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And then they try to pass it on the next 3rd and 1. And what is Gase's idea? I'd love to sit in like an offensive room meeting and just try to figure out what his game planning is, what he's expecting to happen. Because I'm not saying I do a better job. I just don't know what his.
You just want to know the rationale is.
Yeah, I'd love to understand what his mindset is, but
we won't know because you know what he's going to start doing now. He's going to start being in defensive meetings because of to work on so we can see the communication take place.
He doesn't even have any communication on offense. I remember there were like things coming out where he was asking players for recommendations. I remember what was it, the first game? Maybe the Texans, but there was a game where Osweiler was talking about how they're drawing up plays in the sand. It's like there are so many guys.
The Chicago game?
It might have been I think it might have been the Chicago game. I think you're right. But there have been so many guys that come out and say Gase is so smart and he puts so much time and effort in. What is all this going into if he's having such a hard time figuring out strengths and weaknesses and how to use guys and how to attack defenses? Because what he's doing right now really isn't working, and this offense is gross.
I don't think he knows what to do.
I do too. Is he going over his head? Do you think he's one of the guys like we see with a lot of defensive coordinators where maybe he's a coordinator?
Maybe. Like, I mean, yes, he kind of, has kind of used, I don't know if he's used the term, but we've kind of given him that label as the QB whisperer. But, like, the quarterbacks he's gotten, they've been kind of decent. They're not, like, world beaters. Like, they look like they could start in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So I guess that would make him the QB whisperer. But, I think the offense is just so depleted with, he has guys who aren't very well-rounded. That they're really good at like one or two things that it's hard to rely on that when you have Jakeem Grant who's undersized and who's just fast. It's hard to rely on it when you have Devontae Parker and he kind of has these mental lapses where like he'll just drop the ball.
Right.
That like they don't have a guy they can rely. I think the guy you can rely on play in and play out is probably Frank Gore and Danny Amendola. Kenny Stills has been injured, and honestly I forget he's on the team. Because the offense isn't good, and I just don't. I don't know if he knows. I think he knows. I think he's tried to do everything he can, and at some point he's just like, "All right, we're just going to stick to this conservative play calling, and if it works out, if it works, it works. Because he can't do anything."
All right, but I'm done talking about the offense. It's frustrating. Yeah. That's yeah. So next topic. This one is called. What is wrong now? What is it with this team? Lightning storms, lightning delays, cocaine, longest game ever. Devontae Parker's agent, going off. Players just getting hurt. What is it now? Well, of course, it's arguably our best player on defense. Taking himself out of the game. Reshad Jones, all right, see you, dude. Reshad apparently left the game because he was hurt. That Minkah Fitzpatrick was starting to get snaps over him. And it just kind of seems weird that Matt Burke picked Reshad Jones. Of all people on the defense.
Not TJ McDonald.
Who, okay, to be fair, he had a good game. TJ McDonald.
I don't care.
You're right. You're 100% right. Obviously,
one good game that TJ McDonald had. One good game.
Exactly. So, why on earth, okay. The weird thing is, looking back, I remember I think it was 2016 and maybe sometimes last year, and even if we want to go to 2015, the Dolphins, there have always been guys who've been complaining about members of the defense freelancing.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's a thing again. I wonder if Reshad's always been one of these guys. And to add a little backstory, the Dolphins have always treated Reshad well. They gave him a contract extension when he was injured. Then they re-upped him again after surgery. He's making more money. And
he's been the best Dolphin on defense.
Easy.
Since he's been drafted.
And I wonder if that's kind of why he freelances. I wonder. All right. First of all, we actually aren't 100% sure if he is freelancing.
It's been kind of hinted at.
100%.
Through the media. I think Cam Wake was alluding to something like that. I don't know if he mentioned. No one's saying that Reshad's the one freelancing. It's just kind of like there's freelancing going on. And you kind of it kind of makes sense now when you're watching the Bobby McCain play last week against Houston. He looks over the top of his head. He's like, "Where's Reshad Jones at?"
Exactly, and I wonder if the reason he's doing it is because the defense isn't good. Obviously, doing stuff like that doesn't help, but I wonder if he's trying to do too much and try to have a nose for the ball, sniff out the play and what's going to happen, and it ends up biting him in the butt. And maybe he got sick of the. I'm not saying it's right because it's definitely not. He needs to do his job. I mean, that's all you have to do in football. There's 11 guys, and they all need to rely on each other, like you mentioned the Bobby McCain play. And I'm sure there's been other ones. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe those Jerome Baker, second tight end wide open, things like that. It's Reshad being overly aggressive or not, going with the play call is because he's trying to make up for a bad defense and try to make a big play, but in reality, he's just making it worse.
Yeah, and he spoke with Adam Gase last night. We're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna find out. I mean, we're not. It's weird how Adam Gase won't give the details of that, but he'll give the details about everybody else, and it shows you how much he likes Reshad Jones. That he's basically saying, yeah, Reshad messed up, but you guys don't need to worry about it, and he will start on top of that. But the big thing I took away from it was by Cameron Wolf that he tweeted out that Adam Gase said he will look into Matt Burke's communication with the players. There was a lot of reference that Burke was a factor into this Reshad Jones situation. Gase said he is and will be more involved in defensive groups going forward. And it's like it's that thing, like the whole communication thing, and it's like, all right, Matt Burke has the one good game now, or he's kind of like off the slump buster side. But then there's the communication, I guess he's not addressing his players with in a constructive manner.
All right, here's a question. What's more concerning? That Gase has absolutely no idea what's happening on defense, or that he's spending so much time with the offense and it's that bad?
Yeah, he's the boss, but you're like, I thought I fired Matt Burke 2 weeks ago. Why is he still here? Why the hell is he? Rizzy, fire him. Rizzy, get rid of Matt Burke. But when I read that, I was like, this dude is gonna be this dude needs to give up something in return if he's gonna be this. Unless he's that much of a football junkie, where it doesn't there's gonna be no drop off in production. But based off what we've seen, there's a drop off in something.
Oh yeah, and it's just so weird because it sounded like they were rotating players. It's not like they benched Reshad.
Experiment. It was like experiments. It was just a giant experiment.
Why are you doing that with Reshad Jones? I don't understand.
Do with everybody else. I would be okay if they put Mika at defensive end. And they're just rotating Andre Branch. All right, Andre, listen, we're going to rotate this out now, just to let you know.
Side note, get Andre Branch out of my life. He is so bad. And then he gets these penalties, too, that just make it worse. He's getting paid $8 million this year. He was part of the culture change. And instead, all he's known for is screaming body bag on the sideline.
Yes. It's a pretty cool quote, though.
It's a pretty fun quote, but not when you suck.
And when you suck ball, sorry. When you stink, it's not worth it. It's just go away. We've overpaid for these defensive linemen in the past, and now it's kind of all of our worst nightmares are coming true now. How there's going to be even more holes on this defense going into the offseason.
And I thought it was interesting, though, like you mentioned, Reshad at his own will came into Adams' office, and it's kind of interesting that it happened now.
He knows he messed up.
Yeah, and I remember hearing that he was the first one to come and support Baker after the interception. He's a team guy, which is just really surprising.
Imagine how pissed you have to be to leave at home, to leave a home game,
And I wonder why he didn't go to Adam Gase before, and he waited till a point where he had to take himself out of the game because he wasn't dealing with the shit anymore. And instead of just like a couple weeks ago being like, hey, this is a problem or something like that, or I wonder if maybe he did do it, and this is getting the media involved, having to ask questions. But
Burke didn't listen, or he went to Burke and Burke just kind of like didn't listen to him.
I'd believe that. I would believe that. But I hope this all gets cleared up. I love Reshad. I have a signed picture of him that I won at Web Weekend a couple of years ago. He's hard. It's hard for him not to be your favorite Dolphin because he's so good, he's so talented, and he makes all the plays a Pro Bowler should make. Let's sit on the secondary for a second with our third and final solidified topic. This one's called On Second Thought. Basically, the best group on the Dolphins is their secondary, and it's not even close. So every week we're going to kind of take a look at them. And we'll start here. You said this, and I kind of agree. If you played corner at some point in your life, chances are the Finns gave you some snaps yesterday. At one point, there was a number 31 out there. I don't know who that was. I don't know. Torn ACL with
it's his knee. It's his knee that's out there. But it was just it had happened in such like a weird fashion. Mm-hmm. That it was at a point in the game where, like, all right, Rashad's on the bench, and now everybody's just being rotated except Minka.
Good, which is good.
And it I don't know, it kind of just looked forced.
Yeah.
That they were like, it's like you wait till this time, week 9, where you're like you seem so unsure in your secondary.
Isn't this what training camp's for? I thought it was wicked funny. The last Sam Darnold interception, like he throws a duck, and like it's like wiping off your glasses, like. Is that Walt Aikens?
That guy's on the team. He's on the team.
Like, he's a special teams guy. He's pretty good at special teams. But you're just like, what are you doing back there? And it's just like, this is like an important time of the game. And Walt Aikens is there.
They probably didn't know he was on the field. It's just like, Gase is so worried about what Matt Burke's doing now. Walt Aikens sneaks out for a pick at the end of the game.
It's great. It's freaking great. The Dolphins have 15 interceptions in the league, most in the NFL, even though they have dropped at least 3. McTyer's dropped 2 this year. I think McDonald's has dropped 2. Kiko Alonso is second in the league with 3, and he's tied with the most among linebackers with 3, him and Darren Lee of the Jets. This group, I really enjoy watching it. It seems like they have to play zone a little more so because they're scared of, safeties not helping over the top. Because the more we kind of think about it, we have not seen a lot of safety help on like these deep balls down the sideline. So maybe they're playing zone. Howard dropped an interception, but he's always fun to watch make a tackle. He got beat by Elijah McGuire, I believe, once.
Yes.
But every dog has their day. I still love Howard, and I kind of like this defense. Even it's just look how much just having Minka for 98% of the plays does. Having him back, it's great.
Defense the secondary looks a lot better. I don't know about the defense, but the secondary looks a lot better.
It's the slump buster, aka if you look up slump buster in the dictionary, it's just a picture of Sam Darnold.
Matt Burke found his slump buster in the New York Jets. Sam Darnold.
Exactly. Is there really anything else you want to kind of touch on with the secondary? Or is that
no? I mean, I think that's probably the unit that you're going to get the most. You're going to get the consistent play out of.
Exactly.
That's it. We finally had some sacks on the defensive line, but like. It's secondary where that's their bread and butter. That's what makes the defense good or decent.
I'm sure. I don't know why. See, so I'd love for them to take off McMillan some plays and do like a free safety thing. And I was about to say, well, they wouldn't do that because McMillan's a high draft pick, and then I realized Fitzpatrick's a first round pick, and they don't even use it. So moving on, short of the marker. These are just some quick hits we have to kind of wrap up the week. Got a great Gase quote today. We're going to make some adjustments. We're not going to do the same thing we did for the last 2 weeks that you guys were bitching about. Shouldn't you be doing this every week, Gase?
Yes, you should be making adjustments every week.
Oh, people don't realize Frank Gore is going to run up the middle, even though he's averaging 2.7
And it's not any kind of run up the middle. It's going to be out of shotgun.
Oh, my God. Give me a freaking break. The Finns have invested $22 million in the offensive line, third least in the league. And to add on to that, both Tunsil and James on rookie contract suffered leg injuries. Neither are expected to be serious, but Jets personnel were complaining about the field pregame, and in reality, of course, it's only the players getting hurt.
Yeah, I think that that offensive line is going to be a little bit more expensive next year. You would think so, right?
Yeah, the Juwan James. I wonder if you resign.
Juwan James, Tunsil. Like, I think you do it just to keep him.
I think so too. And the Dolphins are
just,
going to have.
I'm okay investing my money into my left tackle and right tackle. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not. I'm so tormented through the whole offensive line thing that, like, you know what? Like, we got two good guys. Let's just keep them, and let's not ruin. Let's just keep plugging and playing with our center, our guard, and go from there. Like, and that's what I would do with the offensive line right now.
Would you rather have Juwan James or Devontae Parker?
Juwan James.
Yeah. The Finns won without 200 yards of offense. They also did it last year. Is that Gase's specialty? That he can win? He's so good at offense.
He can fart out a win. A win will literally fart out of him.
He's like, oh, you don't think we can win with Brock Osweiler and Jay Cutler? Bah.
Here's his terrible game plan to go along with this very creative play I'll throw in there.
Oh.
Where you're like, had that happen, oh my god, that was a very cool play to Jarvis Landry last year against the Falcons. But meanwhile, the game was so bad.
Freaking disaster. The last time the Dolphins won without a passing TD was Steelers at home in 2016. We're really onto something here. Gase is proving he can win no matter what. I think he's
the QB whisperer by not giving the ball to the quarterback. That's his whisperer.
He's QB whisperer by proving he can win without his QB doing shit. Because they didn't throw the touchdown.
I was so like I got in such like a funk yesterday thinking that, like, man, if the Dolphins just had a quarterback that was, above average, they'd be 12-4. And you saw that in the DM string that we have on Twitter, and I realized, what was I saying? That all they just need is an above average quarterback, because they go 8-8 with just crap in the backfield. They go 8-8 every year with crap at quarterback.
It's crazy to think. We'll wrap up on this note here. It's crazy to think that Ryan Tannehill went 7-9 in his first season with Devon Best, Brian Hartline, and Reggie Bush, and then they go and sign Mike Wallace. They sign all these guys. They still go 7-9. That is
no matter what's going to happen. No matter what, it's constant. It's life. What is it? Death, taxes, and something like that. Sorry, we'll edit that out.
No, we won't. We're leaving it. Taxes, death, and the Dolphins going 8-8. Topher, the one thing I've noticed is you don't need to sign good wide receivers. The Dolphins did it with Wilson and
You just need good route runners.
Because you know what a team that really does that, and this is a journalism trick, that you always end with a future thought. A team that does that is the Green Bay Packers, who the Dolphins will be playing this Sunday. And a little heads up, the one and only Aaron Nagler of Cheesehead TV will be on the show Thursday to discuss. Topher, where are we going to be able to find that podcast?
You can find us on iTunes if you just type it in the Hunt. You can find us on Twitter at me at Cochran108 and Jake at JMendel94. We do have a Twitter account, and Jake kind of hit the money with a viral tweet again yesterday with Bart Simpson. But you can see that tweet at MIA in the Hunt. Jake, are we ready for Packers week now? Can we finally bury week 9 and maybe talk about going 6-4? Because right now the Dolphins have a better record than the Packers.
My hands are shaking. Because think about it. You know what? We're gonna get home rush. You beat the Packers. You have the bye week. You have time to get healthy.
Play the Colts. Right out of the bye on the road.
And then do you have the Tannehill revenge game coming back to play the Colts, the 2012 draft? And then they got the Vikings another 20 quarterback.
In the dome where they got the Vikings. They got Green Bay next week, 4:00 game. CBS 4:25 game. That's actually like a good game. That's probably better than a Monday night game that's going on right now with Tennessee and Dallas. But if they win next week, you got the Colts, the Bills and Patriots back to back at home. Oh, we gotta head. Fins up.
In the Hunt.